Today is International Migrants Day, 18th of December. On this day, Migrant Forum in Asia, together with its partners, celebrates the contributions made by millions of migrants all over the world and calls on the global community to respect the human rights and dignity of migrant workers everywhere and members of their families. More than 214 million people worldwide are migrants, living, working, raising families, and building communities in places outside their countries of origin. Migrants' contributions are vast and multifaceted, with their hard work and dedication and creativity supporting the social, economic, and cultural foundations of societies around the world. This year, 2012, we celebrate many achievements in the recognition of migrant rights. We congratulate the state of Indonesia for becoming the 46th state to ratify the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of all Migrant Workers and members of their family. Likewise, we congratulate Uruguay, the Philippines, and Mauritius for ratifying the International Labour Convention 189 and Recommendation 201 on decent work for domestic workers, and the Committee on Migrant Workers for drafting a second general comment on the rights of undocumented migrant workers. These are milestones in achievements on recognition of the rights of migrant workers. While celebrating these achievements of and for migrant workers and their families, we are also reminded of the persistent challenges of the global economic downturn, which creates a climate of instability, precarious work, and continuing struggle of migrant workers and members of their families. While they are already discriminated against, often because of their status, their discrimination is intensified in times of economic downturns and fiscal crises. Over the last 2 days that we have been meeting here, only yesterday we even heard the witness of one migrant worker in the Maldives who explained of how, after working for a company here in the Maldives for around 4 years, she was unceremoniously given a letter one day to say she had to leave her place of employment within that day. No explanation for her termination, no severance package, and no chance to find alternative employment. We recognize the efforts of the organization, the members of team, that at the last minute approached the authorities and prevented her deportation. Unfortunately, this is the fate of many migrants all over the world. Unfortunately, migrants often very easily become scapegoats when economic and social conditions deteriorate, as has become evident in the wake of the global financial crisis. This is a direct quote from Guy Ryder, Director General of the ILO. It is imperative that as we view this situation, it calls for a comprehensive approach that not only addresses the conditions of migrant workers and their families, but also of local workers in migrant receiving countries. Instead of pitting migrant workers and local workers against each other, we should strike at the systemic root of inequality that promotes social and economic injustice. Over the last 2 days, MFA, the Migrant Forum in Asia, and its partners across the region, and particularly in the South Asia region, hosted a dialogue at conclusions of which have been to mainstream and continue to advocate for the recognition and promotion of the rights of migrant workers within the South Asia region. We will continue to work tirelessly for the ratification of the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of Migrant Workers and members of their families in South Asia. We recognize that simply ratification is not the solution, and it is important that the convention not only be ratified but be implemented. We continue to be a vigilant group that will monitor the process towards ratification and implementation of the convention. Civil society organizations, national human rights institutions, and government representatives from Bangladesh in this multi-stakeholder discussion that we have had over the last 2 days have committed to continue advocating for the rights of migrant workers. Representatives came from Bangladesh, India, Nepal, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives to share their experiences and to discuss possible opportunities for collaboration and cooperation as we move ahead into the future. Today, on this day of international, when we celebrate, the international community celebrates International Migrants Day, we call on Maldives and the South Asian region to ratify the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of all Migrant Workers and members of their families. We call on all states and society to recognize that domestic work is work and domestic workers are workers. There is a need for us to collaborate in our efforts to ensure the speedy ratification of the ILO Convention C-189. We echo the calls of the Special Rapporteur on the human rights of migrants for access to justice, for strong procedural safeguards, for attention to the needs of vulnerable migrants. We denounce detention as a punitive measure and the authoritative declaration that detention should only be the last resort. Freedom is the rule, detention is the exception. Human rights and dignity for migrants all over the world.
Thank you, William.
Namaste. Good morning. I am happy to attend this meeting. I am giving greetings to International Migrant Day. Greetings to you, all of you. As per our information here in Maldives, 23,000 Indian workers are working in different industries. Construction workers not getting proper wages, they are getting 300 rupees wages, 300 local currency. And some of lot of the problems here, we are working under the leadership of MFA. We are demanding to ratify Migrant Labour Convention and ratify and implement. Our demand is ratify and implement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In Sri Lanka, nearly one-tenth of the population are outside the country working as temporary migrant workers. And unfortunately, they continue to suffer inhumane conditions of work in many of the countries that they are located in, especially the domestic workers. In Maldives itself, there are over 8,000 Sri Lankan migrant workers. And it is imperative that we recognize them as a crucial part of every country's economy and repay them, therefore, by addressing issues of human rights through reform in law, policy and practice. And there is a need to mainstream the rights of migrant workers into all human rights discussions. So on this International Migrant Workers Day, let all stakeholders in the South Asian region of governments, NHRIs, CSOs, media, trade unions, employers and migrant workers themselves come together in unity for the protection and promotion of the migrant workers' rights. Thank you.
I cannot but mention here that before official declaration of International Migrants Day, my organization, RAMRU in Bangladesh, for the first time arranged to celebrate a special day for Bangladeshi migrant workers in 1997. To observe the International Migrants Day in Bangladesh, different organizations are working with along with Migrant Forum in Asia partners are organizing different events at national level and local level. World Bank Development Foundation, as a partner of Migrants Forum in Asia, is playing a pioneer role in organizing rally and on all these sorts of programs. This year, the government of Bangladesh has organized a 3-day program that began already yesterday at an international convention center in the capital. And the theme of this year's Migrants Day is "We will go abroad abiding by law, build our country with foreign money." And international migration is truly an important factor for Bangladesh. In 2011, Bangladesh's remittance was almost 11% of the total gross national income, and which is more than 13 times of the foreign direct investment. So there is no way to escape international migration or labor migration, in whatever names we call. And in a recent World Bank report, it has been stated that this year, in 2012, remittance will reach up to 14,000 million US dollar in Bangladesh. However, in 2008, an act was adopted to honor the wage earners in different categories. My organization, RAMRU, persuaded the government agencies to implement this act for honoring the migrant workers and to honor the rights of migrant workers of Bangladesh. In fact, Bangladesh sees UN Convention 1990 as playing the pivotal and crucial role in the development of human rights standards and the rules of the state conduct and responsibility. Bangladesh ratified this convention on 24th August of 2011. Before ratifying, it was a common concern in Bangladesh that since other countries in South Asia have not signed it yet, Bangladesh may find it difficult to send it labor, and once Bangladesh signs it, Bangladesh may face difficulties for sending laborers in other countries also. However, after ratifying this convention, the misperception and all wrong notions have been removed. In many ways, Bangladesh has been benefited from ratifying this convention. First of all, Bangladesh has gained international benefit by ratifying this convention. In case of recruiting international migrant workers and remittance earning and all this. And Bangladesh wants to mention that Bangladesh has a financial commitment to the migrant workers and to the rights of the migrant workers. And Bangladesh, by ratifying this convention, Bangladesh has clearly given a message that migrant workers are honored in Bangladesh. However, Bangladesh adopted the Immigration Ordinance 1982 when Bangladesh was in a nascent stage of sending migrants abroad, and very few dimensions were to be addressed regarding migrant workers then. However, in 2011, the government of Bangladesh framed an interministerial committee to draft the Immigration Ordinance law, and my organization, RAMRU, which is a partner of Migrants Forum in Asia, is a partner of that committee. At present, Bangladesh is facing many challenges in sending its migrant workers. That is, there's a hectic relationship between the Ministry of Expatriates Welfare and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and there's also some commitment-related issues of NGOs and donors are working there. And as we have all discussed here, that informal channel of substantial recruitment prevails in South Asia and also in Bangladesh. And cost of migration and exploitation, these are all issues related to the rights of the migrant workers, and Bangladesh is not away from that. We all face that, and Bangladesh thinks that if the other countries of South Asia ratify this convention, then Bangladesh will become a strong neighbor, and it will get their neighbors and fellows in South Asia region, and it will obtain the benefits from ratifying this convention. So thank you all, and thank you to all to be present here.
Are you aware of the problem that a lot of agents, employment agencies in Bangladesh and also from all the South Asian countries are cheating to their own nationals? They send people telling them that they will do this job and that job in Maldives, but when they come here, they don't even get a job. So are you aware of this problem, and what have you done to inform your governments regarding this?
Bangladesh government is well aware of it, and Bangladesh government has already taken some measures to regulate its recruiting agencies and to develop a very sophisticated mechanism of monitoring. And by ratifying this convention, Bangladesh has developed a comprehensive method to monitor the activities of recruiting agents and their operations. So I think within a very short time you will see the developments, and especially it is to be mentioned here that the recruiting agents and recruiting in foreign countries, these are a whole nexus, because in some cases when the employer in Maldives is sending the demand letter in Bangladesh, suppose it is asking for 10 workers, and then there are the recruiting agents and the informal channels and intermediaries or dalals, what you call, they just make it 10 just on the right side, that it becomes 100. And the intermediaries collect them from the rural areas and then send them here, and some becomes undocumented, some become jobless, and some are forcibly entered or forced to enter in this country. So these are the issues, and we are hopeful that you will see some developments, and Bangladesh government has already taken some actions in this regard.
In the last 2 days, actually, we've had a very good cooperation from the Maldivian representatives that have been participating in this. In the sense of, they have put before us what are the problems, what are the challenges, and they have asked for what are the best practices, or what are the good practices, or what are some of the ways in which these challenges could be addressed. Because this was meant to be a multi-stakeholder discourse, and they have asked even to look at examples in which from other host countries that face similar issues and what they could learn from them. So this has been a learning forum, a forum for dialogue, in which the Maldives authorities have actually put exactly before us the challenges that they have faced, not only in the real sense, but also in terms of ratifying the convention. What are the articles that will be problematic? And at the same time, they have also put forward a lot of hope, recognizing that the supreme law of the land is the constitution of the land. And the constitution of the land recognizes equality and dignity of all human beings. And in that, between that and the current reality of migration and migrant workers in the Maldives, there are challenges, and that they are struggling with addressing these challenges and looking for possible opportunities, discourses, programs, activities, and mechanisms, practices that could help them address these challenges. So this is an ongoing dialogue that we are having with the Maldives.